Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be with our special guest, our missionary friend, Cammie McQuilkin, and she'll be here in just a moment. But before we begin, I want to just thank everyone at New International and all the missionaries that are working hard and working through this coronavirus pandemic that we're all going through together. And I want to just real quick tell you why we're doing this interview. One, we want to connect our new international missionaries with one another. We want to make sure that we know what's going on with each other. And two, we want to share our audiences with one another. The kingdom of God is big, and if we're all in it together, we're all encouraging each other. I think that's very important. And thirdly, we want to share our prayer needs with one another. We want to make sure that if there are any physical needs or any material needs, that we can make sure that we're all helping each other and praying for one another. And in saying that, there's a response team from New International who's in charge of helping our missionaries with the COVID-19 response. And they are doing a great job working with our affiliates to assess risks and working through contingency plans. And we're working hard to care for New International family. So on behalf of all the missionaries, I want to say thank you for the team that's working hard and making sure that we're all safe and while we go through this together. Now, I want to thank Cammie for joining me. Cammie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I want to thank you again for joining me. So where are you, Cammie, and what kind of stuff do you do?
Well, currently I'm in my home in Salerno, Italy, and I am working with students at the University of Salerno, and I'm also working with people here in the city center
Okay, and
of
how long have you been doing that?
going on 3.5 years now.
Okay, so how did you get started? How did you get to Italy? What's kind of your brief story there?
It was definitely a surprise and not something I was looking for. I feel like that's the Lord in that. But I, through a family emergency, found out about having to go back to Florida, found out about this opportunity. It was kind of in this place where the Lord had me ready to go. And so just kind of wound up here. So yeah, so it's been a good move. And
Cool.
definitely the Lord has been in that and very much confirmed that this is where I am to be. So,
That's awesome. And what kind of stuff do you do in Italy?
well, right now I hold I what's it called? Like I organize. It's called English Link, and with English Link, we are using the English language to get to meet people in the city center and at the university. And so, English Link, we have cafes and combos on Wednesday
Hmm.
nights, so conversational English. And
Cool.
then on Thursday nights, we use the English Bible to teach people English, but we're using a Bible study to do that. So it's been something that we've done since the beginning, but now we just kind of have more of a legitimate platform that allows us to be able to reach more people and students at the University of Salerno and also in the city center.
So I bet you are impacted then with the quarantine, having to stay in your home. What kind of things are you doing to still minister to people while staying at home?
So I mean, it definitely varies. We have, drastically been impacted by
Yeah.
the coronavirus here, and especially in Italy, where it's been pretty hard on the lockdown, where we're not allowed to leave our homes, and that's been that way for over two or close to 2 months now. So everything has switched to being online. Our church service is online.
Yeah.
Our ministry stuff is all online. So, um, which is still, it's actually giving us more opportunities to meet people who can't come into the city center.
Hmm.
So that's been really good to see that the Anchor Bible study is growing, and also our cafes and combos, even though we're
Yeah.
not together.
Yeah. So we were talking the other day, and you were telling me that you actually have grown since you're doing everything online. So we were just showing a picture of Zoom. You guys were meeting. Tell us about the growth during this outbreak with your ministry?
Well, we've been able to see just, more students are being able to log in from different parts of even Italy, and also different parts of Salerno. And it's been really neat to see that the Lord is still working in hearts, and it's giving
Hmm.
more opportunities to minister in a time where people are struggling with fears and anxieties, and so it's just been something that like we're still going because we still want to
Yeah.
be ministering to people. And two, it's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of being connected to a device, which
Right.
does get it does wear on you after a day. But it's something that we're trying to continue to.
And so it's
Um,
been something that
we're just trying to continue to call people, check in with people. Even with my neighbors, it's a big thing of just, hey, how are you? Do you need
Right.
any? And that's where people just, if you live alone, you need that. You need to know that someone
Hmm.
sees you and cares for you.
Yeah. What are the feelings you think are that people have during this time? It's a time of isolation for a lot of us, but there's still hope, right? But what are the feelings people have that are coming to you that you're talking with?
I mean, it definitely varies. There is a lot of anxiety and fear, especially with something you can't control.
Hmm.
And you're seeing that a lot of people because of this, the coronavirus. I mean, it shows that we're not in control. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the Lord's grace towards us in some ways. And it's where you get to say, well, we can't put our hope in this life because it could be gone tomorrow.
Right.
So where do we find our hope, and where do we find our joy? Not in the things of this world, but in eternity and in Christ in that. And so I think it's helping us to be eternally, have that eternal mindset. But it's helping to see that Jesus sees you in the midst
Hmm.
of your suffering and your pain. And even last night in our Anchor Bible study, it was talking about how God is the God of all comfort. And so in this time where people, they're needing comfort and they're needing
Yeah.
hope, and they're seeing that the things that they normally run to, they can't.
Right.
And again, that's God's grace to say, look to me.
Yeah.
So it's just about being able to point out the truths and point out, the Psalms, and the fact
Hmm.
that we do have a loving Father who cares for us and who desires to be in our lives, and that nothing is too much for him, because Jesus experienced that as well. So.
Speaking of the Psalms and stuff, have there been scriptures that really have come alive to you in the last few weeks that really meant a lot to you, or just during this time?
I honestly, it's been just being reminded that, like, the Lord is my refuge and strength.
Yeah.
Um, and because someone who struggles with control, it's been something that, like, I'm just trying to trust the Lord in and day out, when you don't know what the day is going to hold, because it looks the same in some ways, or just
Hmm.
whatever. And so it's having to trust that the Lord is in control. So that's kind of been what I've been going through, and just holding on to those promises of his character, and who he is.
Yeah. Well, can you describe? Italy was kind of like on the scene as one of those hot spots early on in the COVID crisis. And what was it like to open your door and it's a university town that you're in? Is it usually pretty crowded, and then you open your door through this and it's quiet? What was that like?
It was definitely eerie, taking my dog out for a walk, and there being no cars on the street. But what was like even more kind of like it made it weird was that I just didn't hear people.
Yeah.
And so you knew people were in their homes, but it was just silence. And normally Salerno is it's very active. It's very bustling. Like till like 2 o'clock in the morning, there's normally people out in my piazza. And so for me to be the only one at times it's just been really creepy. But it's also it makes me sad because in Italy it's just such a culture of being around people, and it is such a culture of just just being out and active and with other people, and to not see people doing that has it's made me sad.
Yeah.
Um, and the weekend of Easter was probably the most. That Saturday was the most I'd seen seen people, and like at one point I think I wanted to cry because I missed seeing people.
Yeah.
So it's just been hard, just this isolation of not having that physical connection with people.
Yeah. Can you describe ways your ministry has been able to impact um, through this? We talked about a little bit about the coffee thing. Can you share a specific story about someone who's been reached that maybe wouldn't have been reached if it wasn't for this?
Yeah, I think I mean, there's a individual who is in the cafes and combos, and she also lives alone. And she's been coming to our church for a little while. But in this time, like it's through the cafes and combos, being able to connect her to our church and our daily devotionals that we're doing with Paul Tripp's New Morning Mercies, and which is being which we're being able to share on Facebook Live, and it's been really neat to see the things that we're reading in that, and that's impacting her with her just the things that she's struggling with, and so being able to enter into that with her, and just seeing like the Lord providing through the current circumstances. And I think it's just this hopeful thing of that, like what was meant for evil, God means for good. And so that's kind of been my hope
Mm-hmm.
in this, is that the Lord, and you have purposes in this. And Lord, like, may these things, may people see you clearer because of these situations and circumstances. And so that's just been kind of thing, like just to enter in people's lives, and it's messy and it's hard and there's
Mm-hmm.
fear, and that's where we get to bring the truth and the hope of the gospel. So yeah.
So thank you so much for doing what you're doing, being called, going out there to Italy. It's very brave, and thankful to God that you answered the call. And that's what it takes, is people to answer the call, and that's what you did. And I know the people of Italy are now blessed because of your decision. And I know as a missionary with New International, I'm excited to have you as a teammate in our journey, in somewhat together but apart.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of your biggest needs in Salerno during this time or even after this time?
I think I think in this time it's just being prayerful for the after effects of this.
Mm-hmm.
Just praying that the Lord would use this to draw people out of the darkness. This morning I was reading in Isaiah 9, and it was talking about how the people who were in the darkness, they were given the light. They were able to see the light. And so that's just kind of like the prayer overall, is because Italy is so dark spiritually. And just praying that more people would see the light of the gospel, because not a lot of people have had a true genuine experience with the gospel of Christ. And so, just the prayer is that people would see that instead of turning into ourselves, that we turn to the Lord. So just, that's always a prayer.
Yeah.
But too, just the opportunity to continue to really love on the people in my life, the strength to do that. And because it does, for me, it's really trying to get better at language, and just my capacity is not what it would be like if I was in America.
All right.
So just for energy and capacity, to enter into people's things. I have a heart for that. I do want to be in that, but I know that I am limited. So just prayer of just wisdom and just continuous, being able to continue it to enter into life with people.
So just for a perspective, I live in Huntsville, Alabama. There's probably in 5 mile radius, there's probably 20 churches, evangelical Christian churches. How about Salerno, Italy? How about evangelical churches? How many are there?
We are the only Nova Vita Salerno is the church plant that's I'm a part of. But Nova Vita is the only evangelical church plant in the entire city.
One church.
Yeah.
And how big is Salerno?
It's pretty. It's pretty big. It's spread out pretty lengthwise, but I would say probably like 1 million or more people. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
The
and
amount,
it's a university
but
town.
It's a big thing. So we are the only one. There are some other churches in the surrounding areas that are not Salerno.
Okay.
But we are the only one in the city center.
Let's talk about a great need.
Yeah.
You need help?
Yeah, we do. So if you feel like Italy is where you need to come and join. So
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to share? I really have enjoyed our conversation. Anything else you'd like to share with our missionaries out there, or with maybe just other people who are curious about missionary work?
I think it's just being able to, it's definitely, I've learned that it's harder than what you see on videos, I guess. But I think as I've learned, like, it's not so much always about the people around you, but how the Lord still wants to work in you as well. And I think that's such a danger if we think that we've arrived when we really haven't, or we forget that these truths are for ourselves as well. So just being reminded and being humble that the Lord does want to continue to work in you and move through you, because he does love you. He's not finished with you yet. So so that's just kind of been something that I've learned in this time, that God is still working in me. And so I'm thankful for that.
Cool. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Email, website, that type of stuff? Where would you send them?
Facebook, email. Yeah.
I think we have a website, I think. Let's see here. Email cmcquilkin@newinternational.org. And and then you're on Instagram too, right?
Yeah.
And you have some really good photos there at English Link Salerno. So just search that and you should find your Instagram, correct?
Yep.
Cool. All right, Cammie, I want to thank you again for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you, and I'm looking forward to getting to know a lot more of our missionaries as we do these types of interviews more, and just kind of hearing the heart of why you do what you do, and then what you're going through is really important to me. And I think it's important to a lot of our other missionaries. So I'm excited that you joined me today.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.
Thanks. Ciao.
Take care. Bye.